It's a Wednesday, it's the 27th Jan. We're back again with the BW Education Wednesday Wisdom. We have an education leader who's nurturing the careers of many students and heads a venerable institution. Let me welcome Dr. Murthy, Dr. B.S. Murthy, Director IIT Hyderabad, to this BW Education Wednesday Wisdom. Dr. Murthy, welcome to you. And tell us, first of all, how have been the last 10 months for you, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for this invitation to be with you today. And 10 months has been tough. First and foremost, I would say, for an academician who has always been seeing students all around you, and you have almost until August, we didn't have any student on the campus, March to August. So that has been a kind of a vacuum, I would say. Any campus without students. As you know, IITs are all residential campuses. You are aware of that. So the so-called Gurukul system, where all the teachers and students stay together and learn together, and that is something for almost about 5-6 months. So from August onwards, we started inviting, but mostly inviting only the PhD students to a large extent to begin with, and then we started inviting the master students who wanted to do their project, second year project, and the final year BTech students who had some difficulties in placements sitting from their homes, where they have difficulty in kind of net connections. We invited them. We also invited a number of students who are from very, I would say, economically, not so well-doing families. So they have been finding difficulties in their home. So we brought out all of them. So we have right now about 850 students on campus. So starting from August first week onwards, every first week we bring about 150 students and quarantine them for about 2 weeks, and then they start going to their regular hostel rooms and start doing their research, particularly experimental research. So this is the kind of, so situation is slightly better right now, but still the issue is all the coursework students, typically second year BTechs, first year BTechs, and third year BTechs, they're all sitting at home learning through the so-called the new normal, the online education. So that's where we stand now. So that has been, I would say, a bit of a setback, a typical traditional way of teaching that all of us are used to. But then this has also taught us to learn many new things, I would say. So the online education is something which was there before, but never has been effectively used. Now we have been able to use it very effectively, reach out to students in all possible ways. And also, that has also taught us to how to deal with the, examination system. So though, we have been talking about continuous evaluation in a big way, but this continuous evaluation has never taken a big shape until recently. Most of the IITs used to have 2 quizzes and then 1 final exam. This is a typical pattern that everybody used to go through. Now, thanks to this COVID, we have been able to implement continuous evaluation in a big way. And so that has been, I would say, a blessing in disguise to all of us. We have learned new way of handling, though we have been thinking of it that now the system has thrust on this, because having a long examination of 2 hour or 3 hour is out of question for this kind of situation. So we have adapted to the new way of learning, and all the faculty have been able to accomplish this almost for 3 semesters now. Everything stopped in the March when we are in the January to May semester. So half the semester there, and then we have the next semester. It started in September 1st and then until December. So that is the semester. Again, we went completely online. Now the third semester right now, January it started, and then it is going to end in April. So almost 3 semesters online is something completely new. But then it has, while teaching a theory is easy, for an engineering education, as you all know, we all have a lot of hands-on, laboratory classes and things like that. And certain laboratory classes, something like, learning a C++, can always be done sitting at home. But if it is something like about fluid mechanics, or something like about automobile engineering,
go to the lab.
You have to go to the lab.
So, you're not sitting in a room and you have to go.
That is something which we have been missing. Now I think what we are planning to do is the 2021 graduating batch. We are going to invite them very soon by the middle of March or so. Most of the people have already come, but a few more are left out. So whoever have been doing kind of computational projects, we did not ask them to come in. But now that some of the practicals have to be completed, we will invite all of them to come so that the final year batch of both BTech and MTech will be with us by end of March. And they will stay until, let's say, end of April or end of May to finish all the lab classes and then go. And only come for the convocation, which we are planning in end of June.
Okay. The nature of science is to be able to innovate. I think educationists and educational institutions and education leaders had to innovate to adapt to this new normal of learning through, teaching through hybrid models of education through Zoom. And you rightly said that it is not just about talking to a camera. And there are certain parts of education that are experiential, whether it's research, whether it's, practice in the labs. Now, let me come to a different angle. Now, as we see vaccination growing, hopefully at some stage there will be a large population of the country which will be vaccinated. Hopefully COVID have receded. So we will have an option to choose between a hybrid model of education and we will possibly have the option to go back to a purely on-campus, physical, traditional, old school education methodology. Do you think will we ever get back to that old school educational methodology?
There are two very important aspects of old school methodology, which I feel will really shape up the students. One, as I was just mentioning about the practical learning that you learn in the lab classes, because engineering is not simply getting a degree certificate. Engineering is becoming an engineer. Okay, so to become an engineer, there needs to be a lot of hands-on learning, and that can only happen to a large extent, particularly things like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, materials engineering, which is mine. People have to learn in that hands-on. Second is also there's a lot that you learn from interacting with teachers, okay, which with online, is all vanished more or less. If I have
to support what you are saying, not only the teachers were missing students, the students were missing teachers. Yeah. They were missing the campus. Definitely. I'm sure you got many requests. When will the campus open?
Yes,
when are you opening
it? So many.
It is not just, it is, both the students and the teachers, their interaction, their conversations, their face-to-face human engagement is what makes education rich.
And you get inspired by them. If I have become a teacher, it is thanks to my teacher. Okay. And more importantly, in addition to learning from the teachers, you also learn a lot from the peers. Okay, that is something where staying together on a campus, the students learn a lot from each other. Okay, how to be or how not to be, both are important for in a life to learn. So these are certain things which I think students are missing by simply sitting at home. So that is something I strongly believe it is important to come back onto campus, particularly engineering students. There is a lot to learn on the campus, and of course the online mode of learning that we have learned now will always have an advantage. Now we can utilize this for bringing anybody from anywhere in the world to teach our students. Okay, so nobody need to physically visit anymore to an IIT to teach the student. You can happily be anywhere in Germany, US, wherever you are, and we can have a 1 credit course, 2 credit course. So this particular mode has taught us that particular way. So we can move on in that direction. So for example, we are starting very soon from this July session onwards, online MTech programs. Complete online MTech programs for a person who is working in industry. He wants to have an MTech and his industry is not in a position to leave him for a year. I say that if an industry can leave somebody for a year, they can leave him forever. Okay, so that is the kind of demand people usually have in industry. So what we are going to do is we are going to teach them in the evening hours, starting from 4 o'clock to let's say 7 o'clock, and on Saturday, Sunday, so that the candidate comes to campus only on the day of convocation to just receive the degree certificate and learns everything online by the teachers. And whenever we can have what are called contact programs, 1 week contact program or a 2 week contact program, so that he takes a leave and comes and spends with the teachers and clears the kind of doubts that they have. So this is a new program that we are going to introduce now from this July.
It is a purely online MTech program.
MTech. So complete MTech, the 2-year typical MTech. The only difference is our 2-year MTech program, because many of these people who are in industry will not be able to complete in 2 years. So we say that it is going to be flexible. We give you 5 years time. If you can complete in 2 years, well and good. Otherwise, you can pick up only two courses this semester. Pick up another course next semester. So it is up to you, depending on the kind of load that you have in your industry. Every semester you can change your plan so that certain number of credits which our students finish. For example, our MTech student has 24 credits of coursework and 24 credits of project. We say that you also do the same 24 credits, but you have a flexibility of completing these 24 credits. Instead of 1 year, you may choose to complete it in 2 years or 3 years and do that project in your industry. You don't need to come here. We will only evaluate the project, okay, and give you a grade for the project, and finally you get it.
Okay, good. I want to ask, does the price point for a student when the courses are online also come down? Has there been a course correction, or do you think there is no need for a course correction because the degree is the same?
Degree is the same. Ultimately, the degree is the same. Only difference is that, of course, he is learning in an online mode. But for such people who are working professionals, it is much better for them to have an online mode rather than, and also whatever is being taught, that 1 hour lecture will be available on some platform for them to watch, even if they have missed one particular class, let us say, so that all the full semester teaching is always available for them to brush it up anytime. So that is some. Only difference is we usually try to make all electives kind of a program for an online program, because the moment you say a core course, for example, a mechanical engineer say thermodynamics is a core course, depending on the background of the person. If a person is, let's say, sometimes electrical, wants to do some mechatronics, okay, and he does not want to take a thermodynamics course at all, he thinks that that's of no use to him in his industry. So forcing him to take a particular core course is going to be difficult. So we are going to say that you will have a basket of electives. You pick up any courses from this basket and do all the 24 credits. So this is going to be a completely, I would say, free format kind of a program.
It is in sync with the national education policy, and that
Exactly.
the national education policy. Now, you seem to be already implementing it in the spirit and in the specificness of making courses open, flexible, and at some stage, hopefully multidisciplinary also. Give us a sense of what is your assessment of the new national education policy, and what do you think should be the priorities while implementing it?
Yeah, so first and foremost is national education policy talks a lot on hands-on. Okay, so that is one very important thing that we have been now introducing last 1 year during my period. Every course that we teach has a lab component associated. Okay, so that every student learns the theories simultaneously with the lab. There can be number of mechanical engineers who do not know how to open their scooter, okay, and what is there inside the scooter, though they read a lot about it. Okay, so we say that this is essential so that one to become an engineer. More importantly, we also say that courses should be more to do with how do you upgrade yourself. Okay, so that is something which we are trying to see. One such thing is, I just now told about industry people upgrading themselves. We are going to start a number of certificate programs also, which will be useful for the industry people, so that the industry people can stay where they are and be able to upgrade themselves. So this is something which I think other IITs also will venture into, and we are going in a big way. We have also started a number of new MTech programs, for example, additive manufacturing. e-waste management. Okay, these are all industry oriented, because I strongly believe with this new NEP and also the Atmanirbhar Bharat, both of them being coming in a big way, it is possible only when academia work together with industry. So we are trying to bring in a number of industry-oriented MTech programs where industry people become a part of it. For example, we have started a medical device innovation MTech, where we have AIG, Asian Institute of Gastroenterology, as a part of it. Okay, so that our students go and spend 4 months there, look at the patients, and come up with what kind of problems they are facing. And at the end of the MTech program, they come up with a prototype which will solve that problem. So this way, we want more and more master's programs to be less of a theory, more of hands-on, and they come up with products at the end of it. So we also are doing e-waste management. We have something called CMET, Center for Materials for Electronic Technologies in Hyderabad. With them, we are collaborating, where the students at the end of it learn the technology for how to, recover metals from a e-waste, for example. And then work together with industry. Like that, cyber security and smart mobility.
Healthcare technology, big area, cyber security, big area. An Institute of Technology must produce, product companies or products that actually go to market and impact the ecosystem.
That is exactly what is the direction. NEP insists on that. We are moving in that direction. Okay.
Beautiful. So clearly, IIT Hyderabad, in some way, is futuristic, is already doing what the NEP and
From the beginning, IIT Hyderabad has been very future. For example, the fractal academics that we have, no other IIT has this fractal, where you can have a 0.5 credit course, 1 credit course. The two other IITs where I stayed, Kharagpur and Madras, they all have, the moment you think of a course, it's a 3 credit full semester course. Okay? Whereas the student wants to have a lot of options. He wants to first learn a little bit about a particular subject and then decide whether the subject is of interest to me or not, and then go deeper into it. Okay, so that's why we introduce a lot of 1 credit courses. Even AI, when we started BTech in AI, we were number 1. When we started it, we were number 3 in the whole world. MIT, Stanford, and IIT Hyderabad. These are the only 3 institutions which had a BTech in AI. So now we started a BTech in biomedical. We are starting in the coming July a BTech in bioinformatics, okay, genetic engineering and bioinformatics. So we want to be more and more futuristic in all our courses. We are starting a department of entrepreneurship. Okay, so we are starting a 5-year integrated program, master's program, which is engineering plus entrepreneurship put together, so that at the end of it, the person becomes an entrepreneur.
Okay? Absolutely. So if you bring technology and entrepreneurship together, hopefully, like in the US, Facebook was born on a campus. Hopefully, the next product and services in the technology domain, which may impact Bharat and India, may be born on the IIT Hyderabad campus. Give us your vision for IIT Hyderabad over the next few years.
Yeah, so we are moving in a big way in more, as I was telling you, more trying to support the startup ecosystem to a large extent, entrepreneurship ecosystem, and connection with industry. So we have right now 2 buildings coming up. By this June, July, they are going to be ready and inaugurated. One building with 1.5 lakh square foot space for incubation activity. Another building with another 1.5 lakh square foot space for research park, where any industry can take a space there and then start collaborating with us. For example, Suzuki has already started talking to us to take a space there. We have started what is called a DRDO IIT Hyderabad Research Center, where we started working with DRDO and started looking at how do we bring out indigenous technologies for the strategic sector. And in that direction, we are also setting up a center of excellence on additive manufacturing, which is again a futuristic area. So this is, we have, for example, this year we have taken 20 PhD students who will work with the DRDO scientists on a problem of their importance, so that we contribute a lot into the strategic sector to the government to see that we become self-sufficient and Bharat becomes a reality very soon. So these are certain areas where we are focusing a lot. More and more interdisciplinary master's programs we are bringing in. We have started what is called ID Cell, Center for Interdisciplinary Programs, where we have been supporting a faculty from mechanical and a faculty from electrical come together and offer a project for a PhD student. Okay. Similarly, we have started going in a big way on the rural development. We started a rural development center now, where we have adopted 5 villages and started giving projects to our faculty where they implement some technology in a village environment. So like that,
application of technology seems to be the theme at IIT Hyderabad. From whatever you told me, it's we just don't teach technology, but we create technology leaders that create products and services that are relevant in today's world.
In fact, we define IITH as invent and innovate in technology for humanity. So this is how. So inventions are very important, innovations are very important, and everything should be in deep technology and for the sake of humanity. Okay.
Absolutely.
So this is what we have redefined ourselves and moving in that direction.
N. Manoharan is asking whether international students will be permitted to carry out this online MTech program.
Sure, anybody.
And what about PhD
anywhere
through online? He's asking, what about PhD through online?
One can also do that. For example, right now, if we have what is called a regular PhD and an external PhD. Okay, external PhD is somebody from an R&D lab, let's say a DRDO lab or a DAE lab or an industry who registers with us for a PhD. He has to come and do coursework for a minimum of 1 semester. We are going to waive this off from this July. Okay, so that the person, because now that we have developed online teaching in a big way, he need not have to come here. He will do all the necessary coursework sitting in their industry or sitting in their research lab, so that they completely continue their research together with a guide at IIT Hyderabad. So for that, person can be within the country or person can be outside the country. There is absolutely no problem. Only thing is, we may have to work out the tuition fees. For Indians, it may be slightly different from what it is for an overseas student. So all the programs that we are starting are going to be open for anybody. We are also going to start joint programs with universities. For example, we are going to, with Deakin University and with Swinburne University in Melbourne, we are starting to work on this, where we jointly advertise a PhD program. Okay, it will be a joint degree program where both the universities give the degree to the student. And he will spend a minimum of 1 year in the other university. And they will be registered with both the universities as a joint student from the day one. And this is a new way of looking at, and students from good schools and with good CGPAs are expected to join this kind of program because they have a chance of getting 2 degrees from 2 different universities, which are of very high caliber.
Thank you so much, Mr. Murthy. I want to ask you 2 more questions.
Sure.
One is, when you look at educational institutions in India, where IITs, IIMs, or other institutions, or you look at institutions outside India, what are 1 or 2 institutions that stand out in the last 10 months? They were always eminent, they were always innovating, but in the last 10 months, they've done something exemplary, even in COVID times. And my last question is there an education leader or person that you look up to, or from the business domain, who you think has continued to inspire all of us?
Yeah. So coming to the first question, even IIT Hyderabad for the last 10 months has been doing enormous work in the COVID related. Almost 45 different projects our faculty have been handling. And more importantly, they have been handling this without students on the campus. Okay, faculty doing with their own hands. Okay, because that's something that I feel the strength of Indians. That when there is a demand, they come up with innovations. I remember when demonetization has happened, within 1 week there was an app in Chennai, when I was there in Chennai, which tells that which ATM has money. People were always looking for which ATM has money. So there was an app so that kind of innovations can only come from India, I can say. Okay, you have a demand, then immediately there is people who are working on it. So this is one thing that we have seen. We have brought out ventilators, we have brought out face masks, we have brought out test kits. Okay, we have brought out sanitizers, new a variety of sanitizers at a much low expensive cost. So all these have happened in IIT Hyderabad itself. And quite a number of such things. DRDO has really taken up in a big way, and they started supporting a lot of such activity, COVID-related activity, all through the country. So this is something which is, I would say, something that COVID has taught us to be able to deliver when there is a need. Okay, I think that is something which is unique of Indian strength, and I'm sure this is going to continue as we go along. For example, the number of PPE kits that India has made, it has never made of that kind of sizes, quantities any time before. Similarly, the number of ventilators which are on par with any imported ventilator that have been prepared now in India is marvelous. Okay, so these are all stories that will give us a lot of boost to tell that India can do a lot, and thanks to the push more and more from the government on indigenization. So we can see in the years to come more and more such things happen. Okay?
Thank you so much. And one individual, a leader in the education space that you look up to, not just because he or she is tall, but because of the work they've done.
I can say, I don't simply pick up from education as such. Okay, there's one gentleman whom I have been seeing doing great work. He's the DRDO chairman, for example, Satish Reddy. So Satish Reddy has been really instrumental in mobilizing people to work for COVID, work against COVID, okay, and to see that a lot of products come. The unimaginable space with which things have come out, and he has been able to be an instrument to push this is something which is amazing. And I have seen there are so many such people who are, we can start mentioning, but if you ask me to one person, I would possibly name this gentleman who has been really instrumental. He is also instrumental in bringing the Indians abroad. Okay, you must have heard about this Vaibhav program, which government has initiated, where Indian scientists and scientists from Indian scientists abroad, he is the one who has been able to mobilize and bring them together to have a large scale of discussions that took place in the month of October. Almost 2,500 people interacted with each other, came up with certain verticals in terms of research where we can work together. So all these, I can say, are good indications to say that India is really moving in a positive direction, and we have tried this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Murthy. We at BW Education will continue to do a dialogue with you, to interact with you, so that we are richer in terms of knowledge and experiences that you bring to the education ecosystem in nurturing the careers of many students and many scholars, and hopefully they will go on to produce products and services that will make a deep impact. We at BW Education wish you luck, and we look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you, Dr. Murthy, for talking to us. This was Professor B.S. Murthy, Director of IIT Hyderabad, talking to BW Education on the BW Education Wednesday Wisdom. We look forward to more conversations. And if you missed it, read the complete transcript on bweducation.com and read it in the next issue of the magazine. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.